Like Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Cambodia Policy Dialogue. And today I have the pleasure to have two professors from Seng University of Hong Kong, and they both were here to attend a conference that I organized, on the green economy and sustainability. And I asked them, to come swing by the studio to have a nice chat about, the situation as relate to the ASEAN Green Deal, the Asia Pacific Green Deal, things around sustainability. Basically, that's what it's all about. So let me start first with Professor Simon. Please tell us a bit about your university foremost,
Yeah.
and then a bit about yourself.
Yes, I was accounting professor for many years. I taught in the U.S., some year in U.K. before I returned back to Hong Kong, where I was born, always based in Hong Kong. So Hang Seng University Hong Kong was founded about 45 years ago. Our founder is also one of the founder of the Hang Seng Bank, but we are a private non-profit kind of institution. So we are very fortunate because with a big endowment, so we do not need to seek government's money, and so we have a more autonomy, more flexibility. So the last 10 years, probably we all know because the zero campaign, so we are trying to have a much more close tie with the ASEAN countries. So both besides economic development, also on culture, education, youth development. So our university also trying very hard to recruit ASEAN students, of course, including Cambodia. So just talked to another minister. We want to provide some full scholarship, attracting some good Cambodian students, so to come to Hong Kong. So that's one way we would like to have a more close tie with Cambodia. To me, this is my second trip to Cambodia. So last time is about 18 years ago.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so it's
I
I think it's a miracle change. So I think there are a lot of opportunities. So we talked to some university here. So we want to do more exchanges, culture, youth development. We are also sending students to Cambodia already to do some missionary work in the village, some learning services. So I think it's a wonderful trip for me to learn more about Cambodia. So this is I'm looking forward in this trip.
Yeah, great, Professor. Albert, we know each other for a while already, and we talk a lot about how to push the ASEAN Green Deal, and I'm so glad that you have the time to come to support a conference that we organized, yesterday on the sustainability 2025. So, and I think both of you are expert in this green, sustainable economy. So, tell us a bit about your background in the context of the green thing here.
Actually, I have been involving in the green industry for over 40 years. So, and I have been working with the UNSCAP for some time, and I was the chairman of the Green Economy Task Force of the UNSCAP for 5 years.
Yeah.
So, so that's why we are doing a lot of work, especially creating socially and commercially viable solution, because nowadays we don't talk about problems, we talk about solution, how to overcome and what are the viable formulas, okay, moving forward, because we cut out all the problems stuff, but about problem solving solution. So these are the things that are happening in the past decade. That's why, but at the same time, we need a total solution, total policy framework. That's why the UN, we proposed this Asia Pacific Green Deal, which was launched in 2023. And at the same time, your former Prime Minister also launched this ASEAN Green Deal when he
Yes.
was the chair. So it was amazing, and a lot. I think a lot of things are happening in Cambodia. So I think we can see that many visionaries and talents are coming back to Cambodia, rebuilding. So and there are no kind of historical burden that when you grow in a very fast pace with the newest technology, innovative solutions. I think this is what is happening, for the sustainability. It is, I don't think it's a big challenge. It's the mindset change, which the Cambodia people has that in their mind now.
Professor Simon, what's your take on the sustainability aspect of it? Does your university cover that in your curriculum also?
Yeah, actually, our university also know what we call the sustainability leadership education.
Okay.
So we are not just doing things on green by ourselves. Actually, our hope is more on the next generation, right? So I think in our university, first, we believe environment, nurturing talents. I think we are the first in the region. We use extensively bamboo material in all the new building, all the internal decors, all the furniture. We do not encourage to use wood that much. So
really?
mainly bamboo. So we believe bamboo is a much more, kind of fast generative kind of material.
Bamboo is grass,
Yes, yeah. it's not tree.
It's not tree.
Yeah,
It's
but because
grass.
high generative, we don't have to cut trees, and also it's much more, kind of eco-friendly. So also they have a character, being flexible, humble, a kind of resilience mindset. So we very care about green campus. We are well known and receive many international award for building a green campus. And also we have many courses. I think we have a ESG research center, and especially we have a SME resources center.
Yes.
So ESG, usually they think about big corporation.
Yes, yeah.
But our university mainly working more on for the SMEs.
SME, yes.
Because SME doesn't really have the resources, the network for a lot of reporting compliance. So I think also we believe students not just complying the rules, the requirement. Also, they should be leaders, green leaders, come out, providing solutions. So we provide them some funding, go to different ASEAN countries to do field study, field trip, and they pick up the local problem, working with local students, local faculty members to find solutions. So we also invite students from other ASEAN countries to come to Hong Kong. So it's really a kind of multi-sector and cross-culture, cross-country kind of engagement. So as Albert mentioned, we need solutions. And the solution, I hope we can more from the younger generation. Yeah, that's something we're working on, green education in our university. So action, solution, and must be creative also, using technology, using some kind of social innovations. So we are working hard. Also, we can trying to build more connection with Cambodian institution here.
Okay. Albert, in terms of sustainability, okay, you give a very good example how you try not to use wood but use bamboo, as a way to substitute that. Okay, let's start on the construction side. But what other material, what other component that you think is it can be substitute for, using the green here?
In fact, there are many different materials. Okay, it's not only about biomass. Even the concept of using all these materials, they are revolutionary thinking. For example, one of the things that we have been doing now is, because I'm a green entrepreneur, so I build buildings, factories. one of the products that I do is turning the biomass into some value-added products. Okay, but imagine if you have a agriculture, if you're an agriculture country, you have crops, and you produce a lot of biomass, all the waste. Turning waste into commodities is one of the things, because it actually you creating values to the waste material.
Give me an example.
For example, just now about the bamboo, even about a different agriculture fiber-like materials. A lot of agriculture country, they produce that, but they either burn it, okay, or so when you burn, actually, you are emitting toxic element, carbon, all these things. But if you use it wisely, actually nowadays, the whole concept of all these so-called past troubling products, it becoming an industry that you are dealing with. So when you talk about waste, now we don't talk about waste management anymore. We are talking about waste industry. Okay, when you have a waste industry, then you have upstream and downstream, industry that you create jobs, we create factory, we create values. But just now we were talking about, all the challenges that we are facing, even with the global climate change. Even there's a new industry coming up because of all the disaster. Actually, we need emergency kit. We need new technology and devices to help you when more and more people are facing all these disasters, floods, tsunami, earthquake. So there's an upcoming industry where you help people for international relief, right? And that will also create another. So because of the drones, for example, now the drones is not only using for military or for civilian services, but actually you can use the drones can be used to save people. Okay, there's a lot of things are happening. So it's the application that we're talking about. The kind of green application is kind of an innovative technology, using it for the purpose of goodness and saving people. So I think this is something that
it's a mindset.
Mindset change. Yes.
So from waste to industry. It's interesting.
Yes. So we no longer just talking about a product, a project, or a program. It's how we want to integrate all these in a meaningful way. Probably it become a movement. Even for Cambodia, I was so happy and so surprised. Many of your ministers, or even the deputy prime minister, they are talking about forward-thinking thing. So they are also visionaries. So if we can, exchange ideas and give these kind of solution and ideas, integrating them in a meaningful way, then what we can achieve is global social impact. So it's different from social impact. So I think it's the context of a global perspective that we're talking about.
Okay, so it's a global social impact, right? Which is very different than social impact.
Yes.
How different is that?
Because social impact, people more talking about local, local thing. But if you do something, but the thing is so right that actually it applies to all over the world. You won't, even for education, even for good citizenship. If you are a good citizen, you are not only doing for your own country, but nowadays we're talking about globalization. So we're talking about global citizen. So global citizenship means that when you are traveling around the world, you will do something good even in other countries. So, for example, you throw a waste on the floor. You will pick it up even if you are in Africa or other country, right? You won't just leave it there. But you won't just do it before to where you live. So I think it's a overall conceptual changes.
At the university, are you thinking
Yeah.
alike?
Yeah, actually, I gave a talk a few days ago in the Camtech University. So I always advocate there are some universal principles looking at the human society. So you have the economic dimension, or sometimes we call it the economic sustainability.
Yeah.
At the same time, you have social sustainability
Yeah, yeah.
and environment
Yeah.
sustainability. So for really looking at the human society, we have to really find a good balance. You cannot just have economic growth. So we also advocating, say like social justice,
Yeah.
right? So equality, and also you try to narrow the income gap. Also make sure people feel happy, kind of fulfillment. So always I think economic, the environment, social is like a triangle. You need a good balance, and I try to always focus on what's the purpose of a corporation.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the purpose of business? To me, being a corporation, you already enter what we call a social contract.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? That means you are agreeing, to serve not just the shareholders.
Yeah.
In fact, you have to take care the interest,
Yeah.
balance the interest, optimize the value of different stakeholders. So in our program, our learning, our teaching, our research, we always have a very unified conceptual framework. So you must balance between the three dimensions. And also because we teach a lot of business subjects, finance subject, always bear in mind, stakeholder perspective is important.
Yeah.
Right? So if the different stakeholder find the values, they will support the business, support the corporations. So it's a total concept, as Albert mentioned. So we are always using the word interdependency as a system, as a society.
Yeah, interdependency.
Okay, interdependency, and everything we do all wins. We don't believe zero-sum game. So there's something in the education process. Unlike many years when I attended business school, they always emphasize maximize the profit, giving back to the shareholder. I think the whole world already been changing. So when we talk about sustainability, we need a first order mindset change.
Yeah, yeah.
We talk to business people, hope they can pick up the new mindset. So actually we have been seeing the changes, especially after the COVID.
Yeah.
So this is the education work we always share with our students, business people. So when we even come to Cambodia, we talk with the students. So this is something we believe what a university, what an educator can do more.
Albert, I was in Paris to attend the OECD on the due diligence framework, where now, for example, the EU, they have the EU human right environment due diligence, right? And what we discussed there was that the challenge is for SME, because the framework is good, that you have to take care of the human right of the people, their well-being, the sort of thing. You have to look at the environment of the factory. What Seng says, you don't want pollution, you don't want an environment where it's too dark, it affects the health and safety of the worker, that sort of thing. But what matters is that not the big company, not the brand, because the big company, they can afford anything, but it's more the subcontractor.
Yeah.
As, in the case of Cambodia, there are many subcontractors who are doing subcontracting work for the big brand. And for them, is understanding this level of intricate, very intricate concept. This is not easy. And that's why they are one of the stakeholders in there. How do you see you deal in your university, for example, in your framework? How do you engage the SME, the stakeholder, to better understand all these things? Because now it's a new thing. It's the EU start, but then later on there'll be other countries that will follow, right?
That is why, in 2023, the Arching Green Deal
Yeah.
initiative was created, and also the Asia Pacific Green Deal created. The difference between the European Green Deal and these two initiatives in Asia Pacific and ASEAN was like, in Asia Pacific and ASEAN countries, we respect life above economic growth.
Okay.
Okay, and this is very fundamental.
Yeah.
With that, then the purpose of having all these initiatives, total policy framework from the government, are focused in improving livelihood and saving people.
Yeah.
So with that, then the requirement or the approach, the kind of holistic approach changes.
Yeah.
Because we are not just talking about monetary return, but we were always talking about, like, hey, if everybody earning money is not a sin.
Yeah.
It's just like when we talk about sustainability, we are talking about nowadays.
Profit is good.
Yeah.
Profit is
Yeah,
good.
of course.
Yeah.
It's green. That is
Right.
It is a
If
killer.
if the government cannot earn income, so where
Yeah.
can they spend the money?
Yeah. Yeah.
So nowadays the concept now changed very drastically nowadays, is that sustainability is equal actually to profitability plus responsibilities. In that case, people understand.
Okay.
With that, then now people are changing, even for SME, because I established another NGO in about 15 years ago, 15, 16 years ago, the World Green Organization and the Green Institute. We are doing something different. NGO was integrating commercial and social element together, providing solution. Because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm also an environmentalist. So I will see what are the solutions, a workable solution that can fit in dual objective. Because nowadays we are, as I said, like, if we are not solving problem solver, you go nowhere. But even for the SME, actually, there's a misconception that you have to spend so much money for investment, and like the big corporation, and people are having excuses for themselves, saying that, oh, I don't have enough money, so I can't change. But actually, it's not. It's also about the mindset change. It's about the business model. Do you make charity donation after you make money? Or nowadays, the business model that we have is that my company, I do business, but at the same time I do good. Okay, for my workers, or even some of the corporation, the owners donate money. Or even there's a very big changes nowadays, is that when we were talking about social enterprise many years ago. But for us, for me, we were thinking, if every corporation, even a one-man band company, is a social enterprise, the world changes. Because the corporation, when they use even their 0.11% of their resources, it would change the world. So I think there's a very big kind of drastic changes in mindset, how people think about that. And there are many solutions, workable solutions, proven track record, even case studies around the world. Now what we are doing is using them. Even probably you also heard, like, especially in China, in the past you have one product costing $100. Nowadays, with the innovative solution, it's only cost $10. So it is happening around the world, and people have to be visionary enough to take the aggressive step to move forward and see what fits them, and employ these, even the AI or ChatGPT, all these new things, even with the digital economy. We have to integrate that together and formulate your own business model, even for your country. For each and every different country, they have different geographical advantages or disadvantages. Then you make changes and then work together with other country or other corporation, so that you have the best solution on hand.
So it all boils down to innovation. a paradigm shift in terms of mindset. Rather than look at the problem, you look at solution, innovative solution, think outside the box, that sort of thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So in a way, it's like the old problem is there, but it's how we look at that problem now, and think of a way to. I think collaboration is very important. Many things you cannot do on your own as a country also, as a company also. You have to reach out to other, and I think your university is a good example where it's like a testing ground.
That's right. That's right.
Of ideas of how you can transform, you can improve the life of the people.
Yeah. Actually, we have written some cases books, some materials about innovative solutions, innovations. Innovations, not just technology. For example, in Hong Kong, I was working hard for amending the company law in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Because in the common law system, they always say the executive and the director should only serve the interests of the shareholders. If you do something else, or you do too much thing for other stakeholders, you are a lawyer. You can be liable for the fiduciary duty written in the codes. So recently we have been seeing in some countries, even some states in the United States, they already amended the company ordinance, the company law, making as a written rules. Any senior executive or director of the board must serve different stakeholders. So we have been, some professor and I have been, talking to the government and trying to make this change, over 100 years. That never been being seriously discussed. And also, we have been seeing in Asia, there are so many family-owned business. So in the old days, we're talking about family succession, from the father to the son, to the third generation. But we have been seeing, in the first generation, the founder actually have very good corporate values, a kind of social responsibility. So we have been seeing to the third generation, to the fourth generation, actually the kids no longer just focusing on making more profit. They are much more socially conscious. And I have been encountered already a few cases. They agreed to plow back the net profit, a certain percentage every year, back to the frontline operation staff, middle level staff, not to the most senior staff. So, this is a new change. I have also seen a very interesting case. So when the first generation passed to the second generations, they set up a legal trust and then transfer all the shareholding, mostly to their employees. So the employees stock scheme also becoming more common. So that all employee have a kind of ownership of the business, not just as a worker, as an employees. So actually, because we are so many family business, it's much easier, because they have a more long-term vision. They can sustain, even in the economic time not so good, they can sustain, they can looking after more different stakeholders. So at the end, we still believe, we are all in the same boat, and we are interdependent on each other, and we can all win. So there's something in Asia, SME, as a university, a lot of things we can do. They are not necessarily using new technology, but the mindset. But also, we have to different country, different culture, different size, different industry also have their own context. So we also don't believe, one size can fit all, but there's some universal paradigm. I think we have to really make sure we are going to the right direction.
So you say in Hong Kong, because of the sheer number of family business, they can take a much longer view and not necessarily driven like the big
Short-term.
corporation where every 3 months you have to,
yeah.
do a shareholder
Yeah.
report, you pay the dividend,
Yeah,
everything.
yes, sir.
Interesting,
Yes,
interesting.
yeah. So we did quite a lot of research on family business, not just in Hong Kong, in mainland China, in ASEAN countries, in Asia setting.
So, the myth that wealth do not last beyond the third generation is not true.
Not true.
Not true.
Not
Not
true.
true.
Yeah.
Not true.
We find ways to, as Albert mentioned, profit and purpose can always hand in hand.
Yeah. No, I agree with you because you always say, well, we always hear people say, well, wealth doesn't stay after third generation. The first generation, the grandfather worked very hard. The second generation, you try to, continue what the father started,
Yeah.
but the kid is spoiled.
They're spoiled, yeah.
they spoil and they
Yeah.
just
Take off every
squander.
day,
Yeah,
yeah.
squander the wealth that the grandparent built. But it's not
No.
all true. It's all true, and I like the way you put that at the end. Because their family business, they can sustain the
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah.
By not necessarily, worrying too much about the profit
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
And save for
Yeah.
the worker for
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah, actually, we see some, third or fourth generation, young generation. So I think sometimes they spend more time in profit mission, more than just making money
Yeah,
for their
yeah.
own firm.
Yeah.
So we have been seeing the changes.
So that is a good way, to demystify the myth, right?
Yeah.
That in fact
Yeah.
it's all about new way of thinking,
Yeah.
a new way of caring for your environment,
Yeah.
your society, your
Yeah.
company. This is quite a
Yeah.
a breath of fresh air,
Yeah,
Professor.
yeah.
That you're telling me that.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually,
So it's all about how do we stimulate, how do we radiate, how do we disseminate all this new way of thinking to transform a society.
Yes,
Albert?
yes. I think actually there are many solutions, many ways. This is what we are trying to advocate and promote. Even when we talk about sustainability, we also include this ESG.
Yes.
And people are talking about SDG for the United Nations 17 Sustainable Goals, but actually we integrate all these together. ESG integrate with the 70 SDG. Because when you have a purpose, you got to have objective. There are measurement about that. But then we talk about solution. Okay,
Yeah.
you need platform, you need tools. So one of the things we are talking about, in sustainability is probably to promote this green economy concept. But actually, green economy is no longer a concept.
Yeah.
Because nowadays we talk about there are so many to us it's so many names the blue economy, digital economy, circular economy, and many things. But all these are good. But for us, we have to look at it in a holistic approach manner.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we trying to we have been doing actually even with Cambodia is we have promoted this green economic zone.
Yeah.
But actually we hope we are now starting to put forth here because actually we are working with other countries on not a concept but the whole how to set up and how to use this new so-called green economic zone to help each and every countries or cities, especially in times of adversity, economic downturn, because a lot of companies or factories move away from all these zones or in industrial park.
Yeah.
But in order to revamp, to make it, competitive, you need to change your whole operation by putting in new element facilities. Okay, and a green facility into it. Not only about that, it's also the policy and the needed criteria to match the international market. So we are bringing in all these things together in the zone, because in the zone is much more easier, because it's a place where you can put the best thing in a very quick manner. So now people thought like, oh, this is something that matters, and people will also like to invest. Okay, other than waiting for things to happen, you become proactive. And the kind of the word green nowadays means more than environmental friendly. I think, and that's why when I always go out.
In what way? In what way?
I said nowadays we redefine the word green as to do good, to practice kindness, and uphold moral justice. So it's
so
more
there's
than,
a lot of social, a lot of soft dimension.
because we need that, because as a global citizen or a responsible person, you know, you have to proud of your country. Okay, you have to proud of who you are by doing good and meaningful. Okay, so whatever you do, actually, these three kind of pillars fall into what you become a person. Like even for the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Values are talking about rights, but actually one of the things that are needed is also responsibility. So if we have rights and responsibility together, it become perfect. So I think this is the kind of new concept, or it's not a new concept, because even in the 1990s, by then the German Chancellor Helmut Schmidt and the South Africa President Nelson Mandela, they proposed this universal responsibility in the assembly, but it was turned down. But when we read the history, we realized that this is something the world needs. So rights and responsibility, but for us it should be responsibility come first, then rights come later. Because now in the past 50 years we're talking about, hey, you have the rights of living, you know, but the point is, when we talk about the power of giving, this is the you know, the kind of religious mindset of Asia, most of the Asian people, right? So I think this matches, like that's why the European Green Deal and the ASEAN Green Deal or the Asia Pacific Green Deal are different. So I think if we can address that high level thing, a lot of issue can be resolved easily, because people are confident, and what we are trying to do is, most important thing is to give hope to all people. When you have hope, you will do a lot of things in a very aggressive, but also an enjoyable way, because you thought that you're part of it and you're contributing. So I think this is the kind of green concept that we're talking about.
So does China embrace the green economy?
Yeah, of course. I think China also some years ago already make a public statement that they will be achieving zero carbon. I think in 2060.
Really?
Yeah. So I think they have been stepping up all effort. I think in all sectors, even including education.
Really?
So we have been knowing, you know, and talking to each other how to do something together. And in fact, Hong Kong also in a very special place. We are part of China. We also connecting to many other countries. We are a common law system. So there's a lot of synergy on the green movement. I think China, Hong Kong, and many other economy. I think can making use of Hong Kong, you know, as a bridge to. We also, you know, serving other economies. So I think. As Albert said, it's important, you know, we are not just working alone. I think China have many, you know, in technology advancement, you know, a lot of innovation. I think Hong Kong can also benefit from.
But China is a civil law country, no?
That's right.
And Hong Kong is a common law country. How you two reconcile?
Well, that they can complement each other. In fact, mainland China also always want to use Hong Kong as an international platform. For, you know, international trade, international financing. So also a lot of foreign investors was connecting to Hong Kong first, set up a firm in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
and then they would go inside China, and we can provide a lot of high quality professional services, including even university education. So I can see we can play a stronger role in connecting all these different economies together.
The difference of legal system didn't really matter.
No, actually,
At the macro level.
I think it's a plus.
It's a plus.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
In what way?
Well, actually, as a common law place, we are not knowing that much about civil law, and I think right now we learn from each other, and in fact, some codification in Hong Kong are learning from China. So I think some common law cases now this day can be make references, even in mainland China. So we try to cross learning from each other.
Cross-learning, yeah.
So that's something quite interesting. Yeah.
Interesting,
Yeah.
because mainland China adopted civil
Yeah.
code, quite recently, Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And Hong Kong tried to learn the codification from
Yes. Yeah.
mainland also.
Yeah. Actually,
Interesting.
some new statutes.
Yeah.
I think mainland China is even more advanced and more sophisticated, even including some like company law, the security law. They are moving very, very fast, and some of the standard even higher than in Hong Kong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's because Cambodia is similar in the sense that after the war we were living in a vacuum for about 10 years, and then you have the return of the civil law system coming back slowly.
Yeah.
But then during that interim period, the Anglo-Saxon commercial law came, creep in.
That's right.
So now what Cambodia has now is a hybrid system.
Yeah.
We are a civil law.
Yeah.
By default, we are a civil law country. Our court system civil law. But in the commercial area, we're hybrid.
Yeah.
Like for example, the Ministry of Finance have passed a trust law.
Yeah.
Trust is a common law concept, but how he apply in a civil law context, that sort of thing. So I think it's a learning curve.
Yes.
I'm the vice chair of the Council for Legal Reform. We are looking into this aspect that, of course, we have a long-term horizon, 20 years, where we want to really have our own legal system.
Yeah.
Because up to now, it's a borrow, it's a legal transplant from different country, bit and piece, right?
Yeah.
It served our society so far,
Yeah.
but ultimately we want our own
Yeah.
legal system, and we have set up a council and chaired by my deputy prime minister, Sapheacha, for that matter, who came and spoke at the conference. He chaired that. I'm his vice chair, and we have a big committee where we were analyzing systematically, and we give ourselves 20 years to really analyze what law we had, which system, how do we reconcile, So it's quite a big job. But again, this sort of thing takes time, and we don't want to rush.
Yeah.
We want to go slowly.
The right direction.
Yeah, right direction. Again, the system is working now. So, we're not fixing something that's not broken, even though it's not really what is ours, but it's still working.
Yeah, of course.
So now we give our time, the space to analyze properly, and then because Cambodia, we are 2,000 year civilization, we have to embrace that, because at one point, we had a big civilization, and big civilization have a system. And that's what we're trying to learn, to say, because the war destroyed a lot of our record. But we keep saying that if we could build Angkor Wat in those days, a big state apparatus, there got to be a system.
Yes.
It doesn't happen in a vacuum. You know,
Yeah.
the administration was a function, the economy was a function. Something is functioning.
Yeah.
What are they?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we are learning now.
Yeah.
That's what we're learning. The issue, for example, that recently we have problem with Thailand is all about cultural. How, you know, because Thailand only appear in the history book of about 14th century or something.
That's right.
Before they didn't exist. So how can they claim that, you know, certain temple that predate them 200-300 years is theirs? See, so but now we are trying to look at our own history to validate all this finding. When the French came, and they say they discovered, you know, Uncle what? Well, the guy happened to be an adventurer. When he discovered, because he's an adventurer, it doesn't mean that we didn't know. We didn't know what we had, right? So again, it's a narrative from different perspective, you know. It's a Western narrative who look at us, you know. Now we want to discover ourselves.
Yeah.
We want to discover our history,
Yeah.
no different than China as nearly 2,500 year, you know, a civilization. Gongju, predate even that.
Yeah.
You know, we refer to Gongju. I mean, why should we learn from other country who, you know, was not as civilized as, you know? So these are the sort of thinking we're going through the motion, you know. It's a self-discovery motion, yeah. It's quite interesting discussion, yeah.
I'm also glad more our students, you know, want to come to Cambodia for exchanges, for some, you know, services. So I think we can see, you know, Hong Kong, Cambodia, China actually linking together, you know, in many ways.
Yeah, because Hong Kong applied to join this ASEP, right?
Yeah.
Are you admitted yet?
I think we're still fighting for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, right.
Because economically it makes sense.
Yes.
It makes sense.
Yeah, we always say ASEAN plus.
Yes.
So that also always, you know, enhancing, you know, the direct, you know,
Yes.
Exchanges between Hong Kong, China, and the whole ASEAN region.
Yeah. The Greater Bay region
Yeah.
is massive.
Yeah. Also many opportunities.
Yes. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Albert.
Yes, I think as just now you mentioned about even for China, actually the whole country are adopting the green policy because they have this China green policies.
Yeah.
And they are also looking into the Asia Pacific Green Deal because this is the thing that it's a total policy framework that they have been working in the past decades. So I think even for this Belt and Road Initiative or the Greater Bay Area Initiative, now they are putting in the Green Belt and Road Initiative, putting the word green in front because it makes them more robust, you know, more energetic and doing the right thing. I think what we're trying to do just now, Dr. Stokes, you mentioned about cultural thing, you know, it's a cultural history that we respect. With respect to the history, then we can move to the future. In a much stronger position. I think this is something that are happening now in many countries. Okay, and then this is worth like very encouraging to see that happen because we are restoring values because the value system has been twisted in the past decades or the past centuries. We no longer allow aggressive you know, take over or other country or exploit other country nowadays. So, and all these countries are emerging. Okay, they need not to be a superpower, but each and every country, when they know where they stand and moving back, and then they stand together and unite together, the world will change. So I think this is something that we are realizing and seeing things happen. So that's why we have to promote in such a way that we are a positive thinker, we have hope, despite all the adversities or occasional interruption, but we are moving forward to the right direction.
For China, they really pioneering the new economy, from, now car battery, EV, solar, So all this, these are to me,
Yes,
this is the new green economy. I mean, they're overtaking the world. But I think the problem with China is that the sheer number of people, when you have 1.4 billion people, you may just work half an hour a day, but you still amount of work done is just massive, and this is something that I would say you cannot compare one watermelon and apple. It's so big in size that it's whatever they do, it's just massive. So I think it's we have to recognize that. I mean.
Also, China also sometimes you may say sometimes they are not so open in some market.
Yeah.
For example, they are quite cautious about allowing digital asset, kind of market in China because they don't want to repeat some of the Western countries. I think making the financial market so unstable. Okay. So they already make use Hong Kong as a testing testing house.
Is that right?
So and then we do some experiment. For example, recently we talk about a lot of this digital currency, digital asset. To us, most people may not understand well. So they are very strict that they don't allow such thing being promoted, become a wide practice. So, but they want Hong Kong to test it, to learn from it, even about the law, So that's something, China also, they have their own approach, They are open-minded, but they are very cautious.
Well, I mean, it worked for them, for their society, Yeah, I mean, and I would say, sometimes I'm a bit amazed because when I went to Shenzhen, right, and I walked to the big library, it's not a single English book. So I'm saying maybe China is already decoupled from the rest, not the West decoupled from them. And
they are quite open.
They're quite open. I mean,
but they also realized many years ago that they have to rely on their own.
Yes.
So I think this is a survival game.
It's a survival game. It's a
When
new economy.
Yeah, I think yesterday you in the summit you have also mentioned that we have encountered so many war. So when we talk about peace, people treasure. That's why even in China nowadays they are talking about one thing for so many decades. They're talking about peaceful development.
Yeah.
Without peace, you can do nothing. So all the values, all these things are stick to peace.
Yeah.
And then now they are talking about global governance.
Yeah.
I think this is something that the country, we are all talking about because we do not talk about oneself. Even for a country, there's no one superpower. They don't want to reckon themselves as the second superpower or the third whatever. They just want to be part of the world. I think this is something that people can understand and accept that kind of doctrinal ideas. I think this is something that changing the world in such a way that if we are all positive thinkers, I always said, things are happening. It's just that we have to wait because for centuries we were interrupted. We were exposed to many mishappenings. But now things are changing. But it takes time. Some of the things, the technology has been helping us. Right. Without the internet, without the AI, without all these new inventions, even the 5G or whatever. Nowadays, things change so fast. But in a good way if we apply it in the right direction with the right value. So I think this is something that are moving on despite some countries are interrupting. So the most important thing is even for ASEAN, we see the development of ASEAN moving in a very fast pace, but in the right direction. That's why they grow so fast. There's no magic formula because they are doing the right thing. So I think this is a simple kind of approach of doing of what we see the world.
Yeah.
Why Asia Pacific or the strongest locomotive, economic locomotive in Asia would be from ASEAN. There are reasons, right? So.
Yeah, I would say, our region, many times we have people say, oh, why you don't decouple from China? But I say, how can you decouple from China? They've been with us for the last 2,000 years.
Yes,
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
we're part and parcel. You cannot change the border. You cannot change the geography. They're there. It's like you ask, somebody in Latin America, why you don't decouple from America? You know, I mean, it's part of geography. we just have to live and cohabitate.
Yeah.
You know, and you notice in Phnom Penh, there's a lot of Cambodian of Chinese ancestry.
Yeah.
So in that sense, there are a lot of linkage, there. Yes, of course, border defined, nationality defined, but ultimately we're one region,
Yeah.
and it's the region full of entrepreneurial spirit that really define Asia. Our region is an entrepreneurial melting pot.
Yeah, I think through kind of mutual respect and cooperations, I think I go back to what I mentioned at the beginning. We believe kind of interdependency, and at the end, all wins. That's most important.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, Professor Albert, we have a nice chat, and I'm pleased that you have the opportunity to come and have this dialogue. Of course, we try to focus on sustainability, on green, but it's a lot of the soft dimension that Albert you have covered, which is more how we look at new way of tackling issue, how we look at the innovative way to tackle that same problem anyway, but how we deal in different way, and ultimately it's all about paradigm shift.
Yes.
It's all about looking a new way to solve an old problem, and how we can collaborate, exchange. I can see you have a center, Institute on Knowledge Exchange. That's what we have to continue pushing. You mentioned getting Cambodian student to go there, have a Hong Kong student to come here. These are great exchange, because ultimately it's for the new generation.
Exactly.
For them, they take over from us later. We retired.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much,
Thank you,
Professor,
thank you very much.
and
Thank
enjoy
you.
your stay
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Cambodia.
yeah.
And Albert, I see you again.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of our program, and I hope you learned something on what's happening in Hong Kong, what's happening in the green economy, sustainable economy, that sort of thing, So, look forward to see you next time. All right. Goodbye. All right.
Thank you.